Okay. Thank you, Pastor Teresa, for this opportunity to come before this group of women on tonight just to share. And as we look at rule number 12 from First Class Single, Dating and Waiting God's Way, and rule number 12, look at the signs, then wonder. Okay. It starts off and she says, investigate before you invest. She goes on to say, you want to see as much as you can, and I'm paraphrasing in my word, as much as you can while you're in the dating phase. And after you get married, see as little as you can. But unfortunately, we sometimes do the opposite. When we're dating, there'll be a lot of red flags going up. We don't, quote, see it. We don't pay it any attention. But as soon as we get married, it's like we see everything. So she was saying sometimes, we as women, we could be so blinded by love, and we're so ready, to get married that we don't see the signs. But she said, investigate before you invest. And when I think of the word invest, you putting something in it because you want a ROI, a return of investment. So what are you investing? Okay, you investing your time. You're going to be investing your money. You'll be investing your dreams. You're going to be investing your heart. You're going to be investing your life. So you want to take a look. You want to investigate. You want to examine everything before you say, I do. And it was a term I've never heard before a couple of years ago that says dating is like you're collecting data, which is simply information. I never thought about it, in that sense. And so when you collecting data, excuse me, when you're collecting data, what you're going to be doing, you're going to be looking at the facts. You're going to be looking at the information. You're going to be looking at the character, the integrity of this person. You're also is going to find out things that interest to you, their interests, their finance. You need to collect as much data, information as you possibly can so you can make the right decision and make a sound, good decision. You want to analyze the data. We know when you collect data, you're doing math or what science project. When you collect this data, at the end of, you're collecting, you analyze. So you want to analyze all this data that you're collecting on this individual. Is this going to be a good fit for you? She goes on in the book and said, dating is the time to ask as many questions as you can think of, to observe his character and his personality, to find out about his family. That is so important. Find out about his family as well. His likes, dislikes, work ethic, and integrity, and to learn everything about him that's important to you. And let me just stop right here. Although the writer is a woman and her target audience is women, this is still good advice for men as well. If there's any men watching, you got any brothers or nephews or whatever that's dating, this is good information for them as well, because they need to be aware of the signs as well. So I just wanted to put that out there. We know we talking to women, but this is good advice for men as well. So we want to you want to collect this data and pay attention to everything. And what most important, what is important to you? You need to know what is important to you. You could find out things as, do he want children? Okay, if that's something you want, he don't want children. Okay, that might be an issue. Okay, what is his view of the wife-husband relationship? Is he traditional? Is he a little more modern? Okay, maybe you want someone to cook it. He might like, no, that's your responsibility. You do all the cooking. Okay. And a big one that so many don't talk about. I know I didn't talk about it, before I got married. Finances. Are y'all going to have put your money together? Are you going to have separate accounts? Do he spend everything he get? Do he know how to save? So, these are things that you need to find out about. You need to ask the questions. And as I was preparing this, I thought about years ago, over 20 years ago, my founder, she was an elderly lady. I think at this time she's probably in her 70s, and I would go and visit with her, and we were talking, and she was telling me how when she got married, the second time her first husband had died, when she got married the second time, she said they asked and talked about everything. And she said they asked about, she said they talked about the money. She said they talked about the sex, and I'm thinking, oh, y'all did? I'm thinking you in your 60s. She said, we talked about the sex. She said, how many times a week for him? How many times for her? And I'm like, okay. So she was just letting me know you need to cover all your bases, because these things can come back, and bite you, So we must be careful as women not to be so starry-eyed and ready to walk down the aisle that we overlook everything or the red flags that are there, that are staring us in the face. We have a tendency, to overlook, the obvious things that are right in front of us. We have a tendency to overlook because we're looking past that. We look into the wedding day, getting that dress, the bridesmaids, the cake, the marriage. But we looking past all the clinks in his armor, so I may say. So we need to take time while we're dating. We need to also take time to stop, look, and listen. You should pause often. Look at all the signs and signals. Listen more than you talk, and then wonder about the data. Don't ignore potential warning signs, especially red flags and yellow caution lights. So in other words, you remember when you were a child, I remember when I was a child, learning how to cross the street, you stop, you look both ways, you listen, and then sometime my grandma said, you look again before you cross that street, to make sure, that everything, is okay. And as I was thinking about it, I said, well, the Lord gave us one mouth, 2 ears, and 2 eyes. And he gave us one mouth, so we could speak less, 2 ears, so we can hear more, and 2 eyes so that we can observe. So we need to use all of that. And this is okay in the natural, because that's how we gather this information or this data, as we're saying, about, these individuals. So that stuff you gather, you're looking, you hearing, you gathering that information. We put it in our memory bank. Okay. And you save it, because near the end, you're gonna want to come together like, okay, let me pull up all this information I got in this memory bank, and see what it looks like. So we should, I'm not saying not to talk, but a person you could tell a lot from a person just by sometimes them talking. Sometimes they would tell you stuff about them, and they don't even know they telling it. So, we got to speak less, listen more with our ears, and observe. And not only listen more with our natural ear, and I'm sure Sister Teresa go touch on it, but also that spiritual ear. We need to listen with that spiritual ear. A lot of times the Holy Spirit could be talking to us like, no, and we go right on by. We go right on by. So we need to, like I said, store it away in our memory bank. Also ask the Holy Spirit, for guidance. And I know I'm getting ready to tell my age by now, but back in the 70s, there was a song by the Dramatics. I don't know, Pastor Reese, you might have heard of it. What you see is what you get. What you see is what you get. And I remember that song, and I thought about it. It was funny because, a lot of times what we see is what we get, although we may be hoping for something different. And I have a favorite saying, actions speak louder than words. If your actions not line up with your words, something's not right there. Now, be it, we do know that people can say stuff just to get you. You know, they can say stuff to reel you in, and they'll do it. They know you a good catch, and they feel like you can take care of them financially, and you done told them all what you got in your 401k and all this other stuff, and you got a credit score of 750, and you know, you just putting it all out there in the beginning, and oh, okay, she's a good catch. And you could tell them, well, I want a man to do this and that. Don't y'all know some of them will do exactly just that till they get you? And then after you say I do, then as I would say, they take the mask off and you see the real deal. And you be like, oh my God, what have I done? What have I done? But you know, as I was saying, what you see is what you get. Okay, so let's move on a little further down. Okay, so when you see the red flags, okay, what do you normally do, or what should you do? Okay, or you see the caution, you know, you proceed with caution. You're going to move forward, but it's going to be with caution. You know, what should you do? And I think a lot of times, you know, with women, it could happen with men as well. You know, with women, it's just that we just want it so bad. And we think, okay, I can change this man and I could change these signs. No, you can't. You know, you can't change them, and you can't change the sign unless they want to be changed. But first of all, they have to see a need to change and a need to want to change. Okay. So ladies, let's not ignore the signs. Let's not ignore the signs. Okay. And so what are some red flags? Okay. Is he insanely jealous? Okay. Do he want to know your every move? Every time you go out the door, give him a call and stuff. And let's not be, oh, he's so concerned. He just want to know where I'm going. You know, no, sis, he might be controlling. He might be controlling. Or is he always borrowing money from you? Okay. What can you say? Those are just some things, you know, to look out for. We know there are many others. Is he a man of his word? You know, have you caught him in lies? You know, do he got a lying spirit? You know, have he put his hands on you? As they say, have he put his hands on you? And then he apologized. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it, but I was upset and what have you. Oh, that's a red flag. That is a red flag. So you do not want to overlook the red flags. You do not want to ignore the warning signs. And I think this old show, I think was Lost in Space, and it was this robot, and whenever danger appealed, he would go, danger, Master Wheel, danger, you know, then the little red light on the top of his head to start going round and round, and you know, let you know there's danger. So, you know, even when we're driving, when we see a stop sign, we know to what? Stop. When we see the red light, we know to stop. But sometimes, you know, our mind could be somewhere else. I know I have done it. And I've seen the red light in front of me. My mind was somewhere else. I ran it. Ran the red light, ran the stop sign. By the grace of God, you know, I didn't get in an accident or anything. It was like I came in like, oh, where was my mind? And you know, sometimes we could be like that. Our mind is so far into the future, what we want with this individual, that we see the red light, we see the stop sign, and instead of doing what the sign is telling us, stop, we run it. We run right through it. And a lot of times, the end result's not going to be good. It is not going to be good. So what do you do when you see these red flags, these flashing lights, these signs? You collected all this data and it's not adding up, you know, and it don't look right. It's not passing the smell test. What do you do? Now, you know, God has created us, to have free will, and we have a right to exercise our free will. And we have choices. We have choices to make. She says we have three choices. We can ignore them, okay? And I'm sure we all have maybe done that before, or we know somebody that has ignored the signs and regret it to this day. We can ignore them. We can adjust our speed accordingly and slow down, or like I would like to say, we could pump the brakes, hold it. We could pump the brakes, we could slow down. We could do that. Or if necessary, we can take the next exit. We can go ahead and get off. We can go ahead and say, okay, this time for me to get off, I'm out, So we have choices to make. The final choice, is going to be up to us. What do we decide to do? Just know that, like I tell somebody, we have to learn how to live with our consequences, with our choices, the consequences, So if we decide to ignore them, thinking that they're going to get better once we get married, or we can change this individual, and it don't. Okay. Or, you have an opportunity, to get off, at the next ramp, as they say, but because we may be so invested, and I want to say invested emotionally